Hello and welcome to the Rare Record Room. I've been collecting vinyl for around 40 years now. I was buying records in the late 1970s and during the 80s through to the 90s and beyond, when records were no longer in vogue and proved rather difficult to find. My collection is mostly guitar-based music from the 50s through to the 90s, covering rock and roll, through rhythm and blues, beat, psychedelia, rock, soul, funk, punk and new wave, pop and Britpop. It comprises around 2,500 records, mostly LPs, although there's a few hundred 7-inch singles, EPs and 12-inch singles. Most original pressings or unusual versions, and my aim in these videos is to show some of the more interesting that I have, or at least the ones I find interesting. If you do too, please feel free to hit the like button and check out my other videos. Welcome back everyone, and a big hello to anybody joining us for the first time today. In this instalment from the Rare Record Room, I shall be taking a further look at the second Decca LP from the East London rock group The Small Faces, and in particular focusing on the reissues and repressings of this record in the 1960s through to the 1980s, having previously covered the original British pressing of the album from the beginning in an earlier video, which provides more detail on the background and recording of this controversial 1967 compilation. I say controversial as the band had parted company with their record label Decca at the start of 1967 and were unimpressed with Decca's timing of this collection of their previous hit singles packaged together with some unreleased outtakes and demo tracks on the eve of their new dawn with Immediate Records, who were about to release a brand new LP of fresh material. From the Beginning was a mono-only LP, which first appeared on the company's ridged red-coloured label with the unboxed Decca logo. Just over 2 years later, Decca redesigned their record label for the new decade, so in late 1969, their pop music releases would appear on a non-ridged or pressing ring label, featuring a smaller Decca logo printed in silver, set within a rectangular box, although they did retain the red, mono and royal blue stereo colour schemes for the 1970s. This change brought their LP labels in line with Decca's single and EP releases, where a similar redesign had already occurred. The other major difference can be seen here, where the long playing roundel and FFRR listening motif have been phased out. The sleeves for the 69 pressing are identical to the 67 printings, being the front laminated non-flipback design, which were made by the London printing firm Clout & Baker Limited, who were acquired by Robert Stace in 1975. The sleeves continued to be manufactured this way throughout the 70s. Copies pressed in 69 and through the 70s may be paired with circular die-cut pink-edged or block-printed mono Decca inner sleeves, or with one of the various blue-printed company paper bags, all of which came with a clear polythene lining bag. These invariably feature a handy date code printed at the foot. A further major design change came in 1984 when the LP was reissued on an entirely new label layout under the catalogue number DOA2. These feature a much smaller boxed Decca logo, printed in red, white and blue, with a bold red and blue trim around the circumference of the label. It is set against a silver background with the label text printed in blue. The rim text is an all rights reserved notice. These were actually pressed in Holland, although intended for the UK market, and presumably sold in other European territories as well. The record sleeve is a non-flipback design, but the printer is no longer credited. These now have a varnished finish to both sides rather than the front laminate of the 1970s sleeves, as can be seen here. There's quite a sheen or gloss on these. The catalogue number appears at the top right corner, printed in black on the white border with a barcode printed beneath. The Decca company credit simply adds London, England rather than the full street address, and the box logo has been set against a black rather than a dark green background. This reissue of From the Beginning is housed in a largely plain circular die-cut paper inner sleeve with a clear polythene liner. Printed at the bottom right corner are the numbers for the UK, French and Irish patents, and appearing in the left corner is the statement Made in England, followed by a date code, in this case January 1984. And now we come to the values. In the current edition of the Rare Record Price Guide, examples of the 1969 pressing on the red boxed Decca label are listed at £40 for copies in mint condition. 70s examples on the same label design are worth a similar amount, and the 1980s reissue on the silver label are reasonably affordable, and as such they have not been listed. I would expect to pay around £10 to £15 for a decent copy of one of those. And with that, we've reached the end of my brief history run-through look at the various reissues and repressings of the Small Faces Decca LP From the Beginning. That's all for this time. I appreciate you joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the content today. If you did like the video, please feel free to subscribe to the Rare Record Room channel to see similar episodes and to receive notifications for new uploads as they happen. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you next time. Until then, take care. Bye for now.